This is Law of Attraction Explored. I'm Tim Grimes. If you'd like a free guide that explains the hidden link between relaxation and the law of attraction, or if you want more information about my books or my coaching, you can visit radicalcounselor.com. Enjoy the episode. So I wanted to talk today about something you can't talk about, which is what I always try to talk about. And if that doesn't make any sense, that's because it doesn't make any sense, and yet it does. One thing in this podcast that I try to convey is that the law of attraction is often compartmentalized, where we try to fit it all into a nice package and say this is how it works. And we're all guilty of this, including, the greatest teachers of this material, in my opinion. But what the law of attraction is pointing to cannot be prepackaged. It's very visceral, alive, and pure. And sometimes it feels like we're just trying to get a handle on it in order to benefit from it. Just getting a little grasp of it, just, riding that horse for a little bit is enough to really see benefits in our life. And, generally that's how I approach the law of attraction material, with this kind of open mind and understanding that I'm not going to understand necessarily what experientially is happening in regards to it, and that I don't have to intellectually understand something with the law of attraction in order for it to improve my life in some way. This just is how it is. It's not something that can be explained easily, and you don't have to understand it well to still benefit from it. And that's why I can seemingly talk about the same topics in regards to law of attraction over and over again, and yet hopefully you're getting something good out of it. And I enjoy talking about it, even though I'm saying the same thing over and over again, because it's alive. And I mention all this because yesterday I had a hypnotherapy session. I've been doing hypnotherapy for a couple of years now with a wonderful hypnotherapist, truly top-notch hypnotherapist. And I was deep into hypnosis, into trance, or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to even call it that stuff. I was just really deep into it. And like we often talk about, that depth was there. And so everything kind of faded away. And all this law of attraction stuff, all these concepts, they faded away. Because my sense of self evaporated. There was no self. And if there is no self, what is there to improve? See, it's only in retrospect that I tell you this and say, oh, yesterday in hypnotherapy this happened. Oh, that's bullshit while it's happening. While it's happening, and that is it. You can't describe that because it's like a fully present, pure, visceral experience in and of itself. And like I say, it has nothing to do with the law of attraction when you go there. It just is. And then as I was saying recently, if you take a step back, then maybe you make these links with the law of attraction. Maybe then it helps you ride the horse a little bit more. Hold on to that horse and ride until you fall off again. But all that's irrelevant when you're there, present. When you're there, present, you don't know anything. You don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know if what you're doing is going to make better things come into your life, if there's going to be positive ramifications. Sometimes you hear LOA teachers and they're like, you get to this place and everything just becomes positive. And it's not going to necessarily happen like that. When you get to this place, there's no positive or negative. It's experiential, It's not going to be like the birds start chirping and the angels come out from the sky, It's more alive than that. And you don't know. You don't know. You are not there. There's nothing to know. There's a great Korean Zen master, passed away a little while ago, named Seung Sahn, one of the monks who brought Korean Zen to the United States. And he's probably most famous for his phrase, only don't know. Only don't know. Just don't know. Then you're with it. Then you're really with it. You don't have to put words on anything then. And what does this have to do with the law of attraction? I don't know. And that's okay. Only don't know. Only don't know. Can you live your life more from that place of not knowing? Only don't know. What a wonderful spiritual teaching that is. And it reminds me, too, of a famous New Thought teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins, who some of you might have heard of. She was a 19th century New Thought teacher. She taught a lot of prominent New Thought teachers. She was considered the teacher of teachers. She taught, among others, H. Emily Cady. And not knowing, being in the place where you don't know if what comes next is going to be quote-unquote good or bad or positive or negative, or there's no goal, there's no end, there's no beginning, there's nothing. It's just now. It made me think of something that Emma Curtis Hopkins once wrote. One of my favorite, just, kind of random law of attraction lines. Let me read it to you. This is from her book, High Mysticism. Socrates came not to teach any positive doctrine, but to convince man of the ignorance of his mind. His highest science got no higher than that men act wrongly because they form erroneous judgments. Upon being told he was the wisest man, he said it was probably true, for he knew enough to know that he knew nothing, while no one else seemed to know that much. Socrates knew that he didn't know, and he was all right with that. Zen Master Seung Sahn, he didn't know. He was comfortable with that. When we get present, like we talk about in this podcast, we don't know. And we're comfortable with that. In hypnotherapy yesterday, I didn't know. And I was comfortable with that. Doesn't matter if this has something to do with the law of attraction or it doesn't. None of that stuff matters. If you don't know, if you don't think, if you're here right now, if you're present, it's okay.